Hello, I'm back. I don't know if you know I was gone. I went to the 2017 12th IBBY Conference. IBBY stands for International Board for Books for Young People. And it was awesome. I am going to be making a slightly longer video to encompass all the awesome. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That was all like 5 days. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts and my pictures. It's going to be a long video, Nerdopausians. That's what you are. I began almost every conference day at the Hotel Cafe, underneath its red lights, sipping beautiful coffee, eating delicious yogurt, trying to wake up. The conference itself was an amazing 3 days, filled with talks and breakout sessions and plenty of opportunities to get my grubby little fingers on amazing books. I also got to meet incredible authors and illustrators, and there were times when I couldn't quite believe I was there with these people. I chatted and laughed with Brazilian illustrator Roger Mello. I heard childhood anecdotes by Fatty Legs author Margaret Pokiak-Fenton. I even got an unexpected hug from the amazing writer Pam Munoz-Ryan. And this is just a small sprinkling of the people I got to meet. People who, like me, loved books and believed in the power of children's books, and who genuinely believed that our stories would eventually bring us to a better future. Most of all, I just spent a lot of time thinking how very weird it was to be me sometimes. After the conference slowed down and started closing on Sunday night, Sue and I met up with some of our friends from the Nagoya YMCA, where once upon a time, circa 1995, we taught English together. We had some udon, we did a lot of giggling and catching up, and we ended at a little cafe, having dessert and staring into their case of an alarming number of Pez dispensers. To be quite honest, it was just a lot. On Monday, I joined 20 or so other fellow book lovers from the conference on a bus and then on a ferry to go to Bainbridge Island, where we were to visit the Bainbridge Island Historical Museum and the Japanese American Exclusion Memorial. The words that encompass this memorial are Nidoto Nayoni, which in Japanese translated into English means let it not happen again. These words, this statement, really hit me rather hard, especially in reflecting upon the things that have happened in the last 6 months in the United States, things that are happening all over the world, people in pain, things happening that shouldn't be. Let it not happen again really has stuck with me. I found myself walking along this wall, walking along this memorial, thinking just as much about the future as I was about the past, and how closely the two sometimes sit. The Bainbridge Island Exclusion Memorial embodied a feeling for me of bittersweet beauty and pain. It was a feeling that I often got in Japan and lots of places I visited, and not so much here in the United States, where we tend to try to avoid the pain part of it, I think. But the pain must be felt, otherwise we won't move forward, and that is what I felt at the memorial. This beautiful thing that encompasses pain. The memorial physically is a long wall upon which are written the names of each of the 227 men, women, and children who were forced to leave their lives and homes on the island and taken to what ended up being Manzanar. Now, all of us who visited on that day, and it was a beautiful sunny day, we were given paper tags to wear around our necks that were reminiscent of the tags that all Japanese Americans who were taken to the concentration camps had to wear. Once we got to the wall, our task was to find the name of the person and start there to reflect. After this, time slowed for me, and I found myself walking very slowly along that wall, taking in each of the names, taking in the beautiful wood-carved pictures painted, taking in the quotes that were inscribed there, recorded, spoken by the people who once lived on the island and had to leave. I looked at the origami cranes and the tiny tributes that seemed to be everywhere. The wall runs along the same path that the original internees had to walk when they left island. The dirt path stretches beneath trees that are still alive. It slopes down towards a pier. Now, once upon a time, the end of the path ended in a now long gone railway trestle. And on either side of the trestle were armed guards with their rifles and bayonets pointed at the internees as they walked down to the ferry. As I walked that path, and I thought, and I regretted, I watched this man, who was our guide, and as it turned out, one of the most powerful supporters who helped bring this memorial into fruition, bring it from just an idea into reality. He was strolling slowly ahead of me, not really talking to other people. I wondered briefly what he might be thinking and what he might think every time he leads one of these tours. And then I watched him bend down and silently, almost reverently, start picking away some tiny weeds that had begun to grow into the gravel path. It was a familiar gesture to me. After living years in Japan, watching my neighbors and my Japanese friends, storekeepers and retirees and temple monks, taking moments to polish their tiny corner of their world. It was a touching moment, and I watched him do it several times, and each time I was touched in the same way. Now, the ferry ride and the bus ride back was quiet and contemplative. I think all of us kind of had our own thoughts percolating in our heads. And then, as life happens, all at once, it wasn't contemplative anymore. That was when Sue and I leapt from the bus, not quite literally, and into the fray of Seattle's Pike Place Market neighborhood, which is located not too far from the ferry terminal. The first stop we made, and I led her here, was to the gum wall, where we collaborated on some gum art.
You make the 4-leaf clover out of gum on the gum walls. Push it. You might, if you're lucky, you'll touch somebody else's gum. Okay. Okay.
All right. You'll go.
Okay, here's mine.
Oh, hang on here.
Okay, it's on a video right now.
Then we admired some artistic political statements before plunging into the depths of the Pike Place Market itself. Depths that included, for one thing, giant shoes. Sue found a map taped to the side of one stall upon which someone had poked a pin into their, and my, Marshall Islands hometown, which delighted me to no end, and I had to take a picture of it. Then Sue and I stumbled into a bookstore way down in the serpentine depths of Pike Place Market, operated by a very rather operatic man named David G., who was from Persepolis. And he fluttered around his store, following us, singing to us, teasing us. I ended up buying a book, of course, and we promised to send him a postcard for his impressive collection. Our final day dawned sunny and lovely. We checked out of the hotel and made a rather madcap decision to make a stop on our way to the airport. We decided to go to the Space Needle environs to go see the Chihuly glass exhibit. Now, glass, as it turns out, doesn't necessarily have to be glass as we understand it. And as artist Dale Chihuly's work proves, glass can be seaweed. Glass can be an explosion, a coral reef, a forest. It can be as light as air. It can be as fluid as water. The indoor exhibits flowed into the atrium display, where along the roof of the glass atrium seemed to grow autumn flowers and autumn leaves, all in reds and yellows and oranges. They hung over our heads with the Space Needle visible through the glass ceiling. And then we went outside and things got even weirder. And we went into a garden that was half glass and half actual growing plants. And it wasn't too hard to suspend our disbelief and think that perhaps the glass was actually growing from the plants that surrounded it. It was a lovely way to end an incredible weekend. Seattle, we'll be back.